All right, here's 6-5, day 2. Let's get after it. These are a little bit more difficult. I think it's a good move, though, to bust this up into 2 chunks, because if I'd have poured this on in one day, it would have been overwhelming. So here we go. Some rules are the same. You just get this alone. So don't you dare square this alone, square this alone, square this alone. I talked about that in the pre-lesson. Can't do that. We got to get the radical alone. Now watch this. So we get the square root of t minus 2 equals t minus 4. By the way, get in the habit of making your t's with little curlies on the bottom, or else they all start looking like plus signs, and that gets confusing. So what we're going to do now is, and again, you have to listen to the pre-lesson for this to make sense. We are not squaring things individually. We're going to square that side, and then we're going to insert parentheses and square that side, which means this is the easy side because the roofs fly off. So let's create a little space here. So we get t minus 2 equals, and now this is FOIL. So t minus 4, t minus 4. So if we go t times t is t squared, outside negative 4t, inside negative 4t, and then last, negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Now, if you don't want to show all your work, there is a mental trick, and when you square a binomial, you can FOIL it in your head by going like this. Square this, t squared. Multiply these two together and double it. So you're going to get negative 4t times 2 gives you negative 8t, and then square this. So it's just a mental trick. It's not a big deal, but it works, and it saves you a little time. So now look at, here's my t squared. According to the trinomial rules, I want to keep that positive. So I'm going to bring that negative, I'm going to subtract t, add 2, subtract t, add 2. Try to squeeze this in here. There's not a lot of room. 0 equals t squared. That's minus 9t plus 18. And if we look at this and think about factoring it, we're going to say, okay, what 2 factors of positive 18 add up to negative 9? That'd be minus 6 and minus 3. So our possibilities are t equals 6 or t equals 3. Remember, we don't know until we plug them back in. So we take the 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 4 equals 6. This one worked. Put the 3 in. 3 minus 2. What's that? 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. 1 plus 4 equals 3? Nope. So that's why it's so important to plug this stuff back in. You got to remember that. It's so easy to forget, though, guys. All right, back to the basics. Very similar to this. We're just going to eliminate that 1, or actually what we're doing is we're trying to isolate this, get it by itself. So we get the square root of 2x plus 5 equals x plus 1. Do not square these individually. You're going to hear me pound that message into your head, I hope. You got to insert your parentheses on this side and square it. This is the easy side. So that's 2x plus 5. Let's try the trick on this one. Square this, x squared. Multiply these two together and double it. 2x. Square that, 1. Is that what you're going to get every time if you took the time to FOIL this? Yes. So we're going to subtract 2x, subtract 5, subtract 2x, subtract 5. Again, not a lot of room here. So we get over here, 0 equals x squared, these cancel, minus 4. Now if you remember factoring, voila, we have a difference of 2 squares, which factors into x minus 2, x plus 2. So what's my 2 possibilities for x? Notice I didn't say answers. 2 or negative 2. Am I done? No. Plug them back in. What's 2 times 2? 4. What's 4 plus 5? 9. What's the square root of 9? 3. Is 3 minus 1 equal to 2? Yep. So there's a keeper. Negatives seem like they don't work very often, but let's plug it in. What's negative 2 times 2? Negative 4. Plus 5? 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. What's 1 minus 1? 0. Does 0 equal negative 2? No. There you go. All right. So now, again, what we're trying to do is isolate the square root. So what we're going to do to get started here is subtract 3, subtract 3. So we get x minus 3 equals 2 square root of 3. Now, whoops, 2 square root of x. Sorry about that. You have a choice. Do you want to square things now? Because you can. Notice when I said isolate the square root, sometimes it's okay to keep this 2 in front before you square it. Because if I divide both sides by 2 right now, I'm going to get x minus 3 over 2 equals the square root of x, and then square it, and ugh, what a mess. So why don't we just square this side right now and square this side right now? We're going to avoid all these fractions. Let's use our trick here. When we square a binomial, square that, x squared. Multiply these two together and double it. So negative 3x times 2 would be negative 6x. Square that would be 9 equals, what's 2 squared? 4. What happens to the roof when you square it? Flies off. Do we have a trinomial? Yes, we do. So we're going to set it equal to 0. So we get x squared minus 10x plus 9 is 0. Factor, 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 factor. X, what are two factors of 9 that add up to negative 10? Minus 9, minus 1. So x could equal 9 or x could equal 1. We've got to plug them back in. Put the 9 right in here. What's the square root of 9? 3. What's 3 times 2? 6. What's 6 plus 3? Does it equal 9? Yes. Keeper. Put the 1 in. What's the square root of 1? 1. What's 1 times 2? 2. What's 2 plus 3? 5. Does 5 equal 1? No. There's our answer. Last one. Saved Mr. Nasty for last. Now, do you remember over here I said, I didn't write it down, but I said isolate your square root, okay, before you square both sides. We have a problem. What's the problem? Well, we have 2 of them. Again, you got to watch the pre-lesson. The easy temptation is just to square that individually, square that individually, square that individually. That will not work. It just isn't mathematically sound. So if we stick with the program and we isolate a square root, I'm going to subtract one of these square roots. So we kind of stick with the program by simply isolating one of the square roots. Now watch what happens. These cancel. And yes, this is a challenging problem. Equals 5 minus the square root of y. Now you're thinking, what good did that do? Here it comes. I started out with 2 square roots, right? I just subtracted one of them to the other side, and now I'm going to square this. I'm going to square this. The roots fly off here, so I get y plus 5. Now let's try our trick on this one. Square that, 25. Multiply these two together and double it. So that'd be negative 5 square root of y times 2 would be negative 10 square root of y. If you prefer just multiplying it out and going with your old-fashioned FOIL, don't let me stop you. I'm just trying to save you some time by showing you a little shortcut. And now we square the last thing. A negative times a negative is positive, and the roots fly off, so it's y. Now look how easy this gets all of a sudden, because if I subtract y from both sides, that would cancel, that would cancel. And if I stick with the program and think, okay, now I'm going to isolate that square root, just like I've been doing all the way through these practice problems. I'm going to subtract 25, watch this carefully. I get negative 20 equals, these cancel, negative 10 square root of y. Now, in a previous problem, I said, hey, it's probably better if we keep the 2 here and don't divide both sides by it, because in that situation, it would give us a crazy fraction. In this situation, if we divide both sides by negative 10, it's all gravy, because that's just going to clean it up nice. It's like a good shave. So negative 20 divided by negative 10 is 2, equals the square root of y. Now, you could use your noggin and say, hey, that's got to be 4. Let's act like we don't know that. Square that side. 4 equals y. After all that work, we still have to plug this in. So we get the square root of 4 is 2. We get 4 plus 5 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Does that equal 5? Yes. So there we go. That's our answer. And that finishes 6-5. And so you guys on today's work, you should be starting on number 8, and you should work on 8 through 12. 12 is going to be a little bit of a zinger. All right, good luck.